If you are not working to provide these folks with a choice, you need to shut the fuck up. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. So this video has been a long time coming, but I'm glad that I'm finally in a space to talk about it more in detail. Someone reached out to me and told me earlier this week that I should get into the conversation about why I served, what was my experience with the United States military, specifically the Army, what was my experience and all that. And I've never talked about it. I talked about it a couple of times on the podcast, on For the Culture Podcast, and I talked about it in experiences, but never just did a detailed video about it. But I have shared stories of me dealing with racism in the United States military. I've talked about the racism I experienced specifically in the Tennessee Army National Guard in Tennessee, specifically 1171st Transportation Unit in Tennessee. Like, I'm gonna call y'all out because y'all need to be called in too. The military is one of those big spaces where I think white supremacy reigns supreme, and it's not a safe space for black and brown folks. So there was this conversation on Twitter about black folks, black and brown folks specifically, not joining the military under no circumstance. I think that's how I perceived the tweet, and I immediately reacted to it. I said, we need to be careful of the language of how we engage and tell black and brown folks that under no circumstances should you join the military. You shouldn't be doing it, because a lot of black and brown folks did not have a choice, and I was one of those folks. And the conversation got a little bit out of control, and I was honestly disappointed in one of the people that I admire, how they engaged. Now, I'm not above reproach or critique or anything, but there is something that I am not against, is when you have my phone number, I am not interested in engaging in catty conversations on Twitter with somebody that I have access to, where you can just call me and we can have a debate, and it comes off as performative. And I think that stuff that happened yesterday was very performative, and it actually rubbed me the wrong way, but we're not going to talk about that. But nonetheless, I'm going to use my my experience to express how I feel about that, because it's only right, and folks are interested in their conversation. And I think that a lot of folks don't check their privilege at the door when they're having these conversations and telling folks what choices they had. All of us have different experiences. All of us, although we might be from the same community, we might be black, brown, poor, queer, all of that. All of our experiences are different. Me being that I went to one of the poorest schools in the city of Memphis, okay? There's a couple of poor schools in Memphis, and I graduated in 2005. I went to Tresman High School, and let me tell you something. When people made jokes about the books and like the books being outdated and the books being torn apart, I thought that was something that everybody went through. I thought that's something that was just natural. I thought that was it. But that was not how, I thought that was okay. And when I was in middle school, I really didn't get a chance to be taught about all these black leaders, activists, and advocates. I did not know anybody more than just Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And I was still being taught anti-blackness. Since the day I hit school, I was being taught anti-blackness. So for someone to tell me that at the age of 17, 16, that I should have been, even though the United States military is recruiting my poor brown black ass, okay, they are actively involved in my school telling me to sign up, telling me to, this is what you're going to get, this is what we're going to give you, we're going to give you a $20,000 bonus and you sign up today. And me still thinking at that age that Native Americans were responsible for them being kicked out, because this is the stuff that I've been talking, and this is the thing that we do not get into when we're talking about politics and how people think and all that. We do not recognize that the very system that we are critiquing and dragging all the time is out here brainwashing the hell out of folks. So we need to have space for these people. We need to have space. I have recognized that the United States military is trash. Period. I have recognized imperialism. I have recognized what the United States military has done in Afghanistan, Iraq, and countries across the globe. I have recognized that. But what I will not allow is someone who is still receiving Pell Grants from the United States that they are dragging to tell me what I should have been doing at an age that is like 15 years ago. Absolutely not. No, ma'am. So with that being said, I have always encouraged black and brown folks to not join the military because it is a very anti-black space. They do not want us there. I have so many stories. I told you the story of me being in the Tennessee Army National Guard, and they took President Obama's picture down and put it in the freezer and held it in there for 2 months. And when I asked, where is the picture? Where is the chain of command? Them white folks told me, oh girl, he ain't supposed to be up. This is on the state. This is on the state. But I'm like, no, you got the Secretary of State right here, and he ain't Tennessee State. What's the name? Like, he is a superior, like on a federal level. So what are you talking about? Like, girl, this is what? What is going on? You got the whole folks from the Department of Defense up here. What's going on? Like, what's the tea? Them white folks were in positions of power. We want to talk about anti-blackness, racism, and all that, and how it exists in the corporate world. The military is another level because these folks are the deciding factor of your future, and they have control over your body. When I was in Kuwait and Iraq, them folks could have kept me in jail right then and there. There was no situation where I'm going to get a lawyer, I'm going to fly back home. Them folks owned me, and they let it be known that you are going to do what we tell you to do. You are, no matter how you feel about it, you are going to do it. I dealt with so much like racism to the Sikh people. I think I'm saying that name correctly, where people were using the term Haji to describe folks who lived in Kuwait. Like, got Sikh people confused with Muslims. Like, I dealt with a lot of that. I saw a lot of that. I always remind like black folks when they ask me, I say, girl, please don't do it. Please don't do it. But I also recognize that sometimes these folks don't have no choice. I have served with folks who were told by a judge that if you don't get your life together, you're gonna either go to jail or go to the military. And then coming back and was told, you're gonna go to jail, do this time, or you're going to go serve in the United States military. And not just that, but also there are a lot of poor black folks who are being actively recruited. The United States military spends so much money advertising to poor black and brown folks. You can even see it like in the school system with JROTC, okay? All of that is in that. So before you fix your goddamn mouth to tell somebody that they should have done this, check your privilege at the door. Because when I applied to go to the University of Memphis, they denied my ass. They denied me. I didn't get no full ride scholarship to Morehouse. I didn't get no damn scholarship to Georgia State. I didn't get no damn acceptance letter from Howard University. And I think that is the disconnect with so many people who are out here critiquing all of these things and not checking their privilege. Y'all are giving me brunch boot realness teas because y'all have came from a place of privilege. Don't get me wrong. All of us have privilege. All of us have to check our privilege. Someone who is out here getting recognized for being intelligent and passing these tests and stuff has more privilege than someone who can't take tests. Someone who isn't book smart and all that. Like, y'all need to check yourselves because I see so much that y'all sit on these ivory towers and y'all have all this language, y'all have all these articles and all these think pieces, y'all know all of this shit. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. And it's interesting that you all understand that. It's interesting that folks always say that, but be the first one to tell someone that they have a choice. Like, tell me how a 16, 17-year-old who has been taught anti-blackness since the fucking first day they can even speak is going to have the knowledge that you have at 22 that you just learned 2 years ago, is going to have the knowledge to say, you know what, I'm not going to be supporting this imperialist agenda. Now, granted, there was some folks who thought like that. I'm not going to dismiss and say everybody, but girl, we need to focus on the very system that is causing these folks to serve in the U.S. military. And that's my honest critique. I'm not going to be out here telling people to sign up. I've never told nobody, girl, sign up. I ain't told nobody because I told them, like, girl, my experience with trash, you're going to have the same experience. Period. Like, that is just what it is. But I understand some folks say, I don't have a choice. And a lot of y'all are out here sounding like Kanye West, telling folks that they have a choice. And what is interesting, y'all we have got to stop trying to have who is the most oppressed Olympics, because we are all out here actively oppressing folks, whether we know it or not. Me out here staying in this apartment, paying rent, paying these things, I am still out here consuming products that is out here keeping their boot on folks' neck. Me shopping at damn Walmart and buying cheap ass romaine lettuce, and it's being picked by immigrants or folks who, you know, made their way to this country and being kicked out. I am still out here actively oppressing folks. And I don't see how some of y'all walk around here with the newest iPhone, and folks in China being paid pennies to make this shit, but you gonna tell me that I can't be out here trying to make a living. And as someone who is living with HIV, I don't have enough money to pay for HIV medication. I was struggling for a minute. I was not on any medication because I could not afford it. And I didn't even know that the VA would pay for it. I was out here struggling trying to find a way to pay for my HIV medication. But you want me to sit up here and suffer because you want to feel good about your shit. It's not making any sense to me. And I think we it's almost as if folks get turned on by saying, "Oh, girl, you doing way more oppression than me." Like, girl, no, man, we all are in here. And then I had some white Latinx boy fucking send me a tweet talking about something. He got upset that I said something about, girl, if you out here paying taxes, you out here supporting the U.S. government just as much as I am. Oh, that's a false analogy, it's a false whatever, because people go to jail for not paying taxes. Bitch, I ain't paid taxes in 2 goddamn years and my ass ain't been locked up yet. There are folks out here being told right now, if your ass don't fucking sign up to the United States military, you don't serve, your ass is going to jail. Y'all pick apart and cherry pick what the fuck y'all want to make yourselves look good and be performative on social media, and I am fucking tired. I am fucking tired. I'm fucking tired of that bullshit. So with that being said, I'm not gonna go into much. I feel like I already have. To understand the United States military, to understand imperialism, to understand all of these things, capitalism, all that, y'all are going to have to actually out here talk to folks who are not in the same classroom as you. You need to be talking to folks on the streets. You need to be talking to folks who have lived in these experiences, because y'all out here reading all these books, y'all out here going to all these lectures and shit, but y'all don't even know how to speak to the very folks who are experiencing this shit 24/7. And that's some of y'all honest problem. Like, y'all are so quick to use buzzwords, y'all so quick to tell folks this is what this is what that is, and then you don't even know how to talk to somebody who is living that experience every fucking day. Girl, if y'all don't miss me with the bullshit, and ain't nobody receiving no goddamn Pell Grant and going to fucking car, ain't gonna tell me about my goddamn struggle, bitch. I wasn't even allowed to even go step foot into a goddamn university because my ACT score was too low. Okay, I wasn't like, girl, and I couldn't even afford to go to a goddamn community college. My parents were actively telling my ass, if you don't get your ass out here and find something, you gonna get kicked the hell out. So what do you think I'm gonna do when I got somebody in my face telling me that I'm gonna give you $20,000 to provide you shelter and all this other shit? All you gotta do is sign this shit. Girl, some of this stuff I just learned, and I love that I have learned it, because now I'm sharing this information. This is when we get to it. Now I'm sharing this information not with people who have the same politics as me. I'm sharing this information with people who are experiencing it, but might not have the politics. People who know what misogyny is, but do not use the word misogyny. Folks who know what anti-blackness is, know what racism is, but do not have the proper wording for it. And I think that's always going to be the disconnect with some folks who are so happy to use these words they learned at college, so happy to use these buzzwords they have learned 2-3 years ago, but expect someone at the age of 15 to be able to comprehend this shit when they're just now trying to get some kind of goddamn politic their goddamn self. Cut the shit out. Cut the shit out. So I say all of this to say that we need to be very careful of talking about people having a choice. Honestly, to me, there is no ethical choice under capitalism. We are all out here trying to provide shelter and stuff for ourselves. Like, we are trying to just live. And granted, I understand that the U.S. military is trash for what they have done and what they continue to do. I definitely understand that. And that's not something that I am proud of. I am not proud of being a veteran. I am not proud, but if anything, I'm working on ways to provide a choice for folks who do not have a choice. Instead of telling them that they do have a choice, I'm working to provide them with a choice. And if you are not working to provide these folks with a choice, you need to shut the fuck up. If you're not actively out here on boots on ground, helping these folks out, because the shit y'all doing on Twitter, Facebook, and writing these things on Medium.com ain't really doing a lot for folks who don't have access to this shit. And I need for folks to understand that it's all cute and it sounds cute for us to get a million tweets and shit, and a lot of impressions from talking and using these buzzwords, but these folks are out here struggling in real life. Folks are out here having to make a determination between going to jail or serving in the United States military, and they don't even understand what the United States military is going to do to them. I had no idea what the United States military was about to do with my black ass body when I signed that paper for them $20,000. The only thing that I saw was that I was going to be able to give my mother some money back for what they have done and how they have helped me. The only thing that I saw was that my mother and father needed help because they were raising a family and they needed more money, and I was being a cost to them. So we cannot be out here critiquing and saying that only one thing exists when two things can exist. Okay, that's that on that. I'm ending this conversation. I know I said I was going to end it, but this is something very passionate to me, and this is not going to be my last conversation about that. But I need people to understand that, you know, if you can find a way besides joining the United States military, period, please find another way. It is not a safe space for black and brown folks. I had some terrible experiences, and I will open up about and talk about them more. We cannot be helping the United States military with their trash ass shit they are doing in these different countries. But at the same time, sis, I understand. I understand. And to be honest, I see no different than somebody who's out here paying taxes, than somebody serving in the United States military. I'm going to say that because a person who is homeless right now on the streets and not paying no taxes can say, girl, y'all talking all this shit, but my ass is sitting here the most rebellious out of all of y'all. I'm not paying taxes. I'm not out here using any type of, I'm not out here participating in capitalism. I'm out here living on these folks' streets.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.